Hi guys, welcome back to another video. We have a 2016 Skoda Octavia. We have been on this prior. I had taken the turbo off and I had separated it and I cleaned it with JLM carbon cleaner inside it because the veins were sticking. Anyway, at this point in time, the car is using oil. Man has self-diagnosed it and he just wants me to fit a new turbo in here. He believes the burning oil issue is happening because of the turbo from all the Googling and stuff he's done. There's about 60,000 kilometers on it since I done the last video. It's doing a lot of miles every day, and I'm just going to show you what we have. What he has gotten for me is a Marley turbo. I don't know where he got it. He just rang me one day and said, will I fit? He's after been doing a bit of homework. He said, and this is what he has chosen to get her to. Looks actually like a nice turbo, Marley. All bits and pieces clear and present. Gaskets and stuff sitting in here. Can't tell you where he got it because I don't know. Maybe if anyone's going looking, you better see that. There. Nearings.com. So you've seen that. I don't even know how much you paid for it, but it is quite a nice looking turbo, all put together. I'm not going to even think about too much here other than getting this thing into it. At this point he has given me an oil and filter to be replaced as well, and I think what she's doing, and this might be a frame of thought, what she's doing is at about 2,500 RPMs she's limp mode back. This is something he's choosing to do, I think, because of his burning oil issue. And my frame of thought is, I think when I was working on this about 6 or 8 months ago, I had an EGR cooler in my hand and I saw it being slightly blocked, but I thought nothing of it. You've probably seen me with Skoda Kodiaks and stuff like that, where I believed that I was getting an overboost condition when I left off the throttle. Driving on 2,500, 3,000 revs, leave off the throttle slightly, and at that point in time I believed that EGR valve should open and give me a drop in boost pressure with exhaust gas recirculation flow. But if the cooler is blocked, it wasn't giving me the flow, and that's where I derived on the other stuff. So on this, I don't think this is going to fix his going into limp mode problem, but we're going to get it changed. When I have it changed, I'm going to have a look and I'm going to see what the EGR cooler is like, because they do block fairly hard in these. But that's the video for today. 2016 Skoda Octavia 1.6 diesel. I don't know what engine code is inside it, but we're going to get this changed out as fast as we can. Okay guys, let's go. Having a little fast look in here just to see before I go. You can see our codes: diesel, particulate filter, soot accumulation, turbo, supercharger, under boost. Same code again, 299, 2P2458, diesel filter regeneration duration. And then we have turbocharger, boost control, A performance. So I'd say we're going to find a whole lot more when we get swapping around this turbo. So we're, for now anyway, we're going ripping, and we're going to do when a man is looking. We'll have a look at our particle filter and EGR cooler when it's all out in hand. Okay guys, purely because of the fault codes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull particle filter down and out of this thing and subframe off it on the bottom. I would have tried maybe to squeeze it in if I thought I had no issue with particle filters, but I believe it's going to be blocked. So I'll take it off and send it off to be cleaned. Anosonics is who we'll use below, and they're kind of down around New Ross kind of direction. But I'm going to get this thing off in its entirety. What I've done at this point in time, I've taken out the airbox that sits here. There's an intake or pipe that sits along here. I've taken that off as well, and then I've taken off the little air from the airbox to the turbo pipe. But I suppose at that I'm going to go underneath, rip out bolts out of the subframe and get the particle filter off. Then we can come back up here and have a look. 8 hours and 15 minutes what I was booked at, so we better get going. Okay guys, to start with, a couple of bolts, generic bolts we know about in a subframe. I'm going to get the subframe down, 2 bolts out of steering rack, and we're going to have this down in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, don't get caught. Disconnect that wiring assembly off the oil level sensor and the water pump and take it out from around the onto your road. Okay guys, subframe is down. We're around this way. I've pulled off a couple of water pipes in around here. Water pipe coming up and across by the particle filter. And my first attack now is I'm going to take out this EGR cooler here now. Bolt, if you can see it, sitting in there, and I have the bracket gone off from around it. Once I've it out or loosened out, I'm going to get in at my block connectors. Where am I going? Block connectors at that point underneath those silver heat protectors. Yeah, get that out, and hopefully then it'll soon be coming down with the particle filter. Okay, have our EGR cooler out on here. It's sitting here. I didn't take the valve off it. I didn't think I needed to. As of yet, I might actually take that off for a look. At this point, looking in there, I don't know. I think that could be kind of blocked. We'll get it. Take off that thing and just see. Okay, not as bad maybe as what I might have earlier thought. What'd be interesting maybe is if we turn in a light in here. We're looking. Sorry about the noise. You can see a slight hole through there. I'm suggesting that this thing is blocked completely. There's a nice clean hole actually there. Clean. It's actually not so bad, that one. It's me just moving the camera around and stuff, trying to see if I can see. I'm suggesting that thing is blocked and needs to be replaced. Okay, done a little bit of stripping up top. 2 pressure sensors with pipes, a couple of block connectors, a couple of temperature sensors and stuff off, hang them away so they don't get caught on anything when I'm feeding it down. Again, dot. It just saves me making a mistake. I think for now I'm going to back up and pull off our DPF, have the bracket loosened here and the bolt sitting up top of the DPF. So hopefully at this point in time from underneath, the DPF should come down. Okay. DPF pulled down, I pulled off my drive shaft, just off of the gearbox, just to leave it hanging down. And DPF sitting there on the ground, and we'll have an assessment of that maybe at a later stage. Or as I said there, get it cleaned and see where we go. But for now, pull up, and I have a couple of bolts pulled out of the back of the turbo here when I was getting in at the cooler and stuff. I'll take off that bracket and I'll pull out the last couple of bolts, and that should be quite simply it. We should be done. And up and out, fingers crossed. A couple of minutes. Okay, that is it. Bit more room, I suppose, up there at this point in time, but anyway, we're meant to be. That was easy. Actually, I chose to come down the way. Why? Sorry, I know what the camera looks like there. I chose to come down the way just purely because of ease. Some crack. Go away now, dog. Some crack if it was different, but anyway, she seems to be all true and correct. Heat shields and stuff to be transferred over. Yeah, everything looks cool. So I think, fingers crossed, this is what's causing the man's burning oil problem. Fingers crossed. I'll probably give feedback at some stage, but I won't know immediately. And yeah, for now I suppose the roll is now just turned and we're putting off a few bits of tin and on the way back in again. Keep on going. You probably don't want to see as much of this on the way back in again. I'll do 1 or 2 little snippets where I have more stuck back together, but that's the process in taking it out. I don't know whether there's any benefit to anyone. I don't know if I showed me taking off these oil feed and return pipes, which I probably didn't. There again, once you've bit of room. I took them off actually while the DPF was in there. So once the subframe was off, I had a good bit of room to get into them, and they were quite handy and quite easy. So yeah, like a bit of oil working, I suppose, in getting them off and getting them on. But I'll make up time when I'm back together and finished. Okay guys, turbo's up and bolted on. Oil feeds and returns are clear, cleaned and gone back on. We have flooded the bearings of the turbo with oil. I have my EGR cooler and my DPF back from being cleaned, and yeah, that's it. We're going continue, squeeze it back up and see what way it drives. Guys, one little tip I'm going to give you while putting up the DPF is to get a jack and just stick it between the bulkhead and I'm going to say the differential is where I'm going to probably wedge it in at this point, but that's where I have it in, just to get enough room to get our DPF up and into situ. Okay, handy tip. Okay guys, I have my DPF up and in, and I'm putting in my EGR cooler. What I find is to bolt the EGR up. It's not actually doing it there now, but I find to bolt it up, leave the brackets loose. If the brackets loose, I still have all the bolts up here for holding it on loose also. I connect on my wiring for the electronic part of the EGR valve itself, and then I put on the rubber hose. I have found that sometimes if the cooler is twisted in the wrong position, it can be quite awkward and hard to get on that rubber hose there, because it's such a small one with such a tight little bend on it. So what I do is I fit on the hose, get them nice and snug. Again, you can see my generic little markings there, just for the direction of it. I want the top to be at the top and the bottom to be at the bottom. But the clips are on and the gaps are closed up on the hose rather than trying to stretch it in there. And at this stage now, I will tighten these brackets here and the bolts up and in there. Okay, just a little fast pointer on the return journey of this thing. Okay, all our stuff is up and in there. My trolley is starting to get kind of empty. So with the clips, pipes, brackets, stuff from the bottom back on. At this point in time, I think we're going for our subframe and get it lobbed back up. But mechanically, I'm back together here as original as I can get it. Everything squares up nice, tight, torqued, and in its right place. Okay, get the subframe up. Don't know, guys, if it's of any assistance, but I don't even take off the wheels. Not for this job anyway. And when I'm going back up, I sit the subframe in there, and then in there. I leave it hang there. And once it's hanging there, then I lift it up and I stick on my ball joint. Just one of them. Nuts on there. Rack, then I push it up and I stick a bolt. These brackets that I still have hanging there, I can hang it up underneath those brackets, and then I push in the bolt quite easy with just a one there, and that's still loose. And at that point then I'm going to put in a couple of bolts in my steering rack here. But because everything is loose and able to move, you see that? Everything pops together quite easy. So you can get all your bolts in. Once all the bolts are in place, don't forget your wiring again on the way back in underneath the anti-roll bar. Yeah, once all the bolts are sitting in there, bolts and our engine mounting and all that sits into place, sure, it's all plain sailing from there. Tighten them once you have all of them in place. Okay, on the home run now. Everything starting to get back together here. Differential pressure pipes back on. I didn't put that clip in there, it was in there prior to me, so like I'm just putting it straight back in. Heat shields and stuff on, bits and pieces, bracket, a couple of intake pipes to go in now, and should be ready to turn the key at that point. Fingers crossed we're going to be okay. Just at the turning the key on there, first start. Gone. Bit of smoke rising out there. What I did notice on this occasion is on one or two other occasions I'm getting kind of a on cold start. It's gone now. Sounds smooth enough at this point in time. Yeah, again another tray I have to stick on the engine cover. I've coolant gone into it, bleed the system maybe. Can be very hard, as I said on numerous occasions, these 3 separate cooling systems in these yokes to bleed. Get caught with them quite often, so get them out for a good drive before we deem it okay to go back to the customer, and yeah, let's hopefully get rid of faults. Hopefully this thing will go away. Again, not too much of my baby. If it isn't because, well, I don't know. My thoughts are and were that it was EGR Cooler that's kind of resolving or giving us this problem, I believe. Now in hindsight, maybe it wasn't totally blocked, so maybe I could be wrong. So fingers crossed. There's one or two lads I done another video on this one earlier on, this same car where the turbo was taken apart, cleaned, the vanes of it were cleaned and it was refitted. Not the whole turbo off, just separated into two halves. And a couple of people have commented to me saying that they have the same problem. So hopefully, look, this is going to do, if this works, I can get back onto him and say, hey, come here, turbo has fixed it, and or clean the EGR cooler. So for now, we'll clear faults, get out for a drive, see what happens. Okay guys, it's back together and we're sitting down on the road. I'm just going to clear faults. Still have a couple of lights flashing there, and all I'm going to do is just clear and give her a burn up the road. Again, not a burn, but you know, a drive, generic term that one of us technicians might use for a spin. I suppose sometimes we do drive them a little bit harder than normal everyday people will drive, because we're trying to recreate faults. So yeah, well, under load or boost pressure issues or whatever it may be. Okay, so we have all the faults that we have had on the last I think there's more here than what I had, but at some stage I probably had the ignition turned on and I got all my temperature sensor faults. I'm gonna go baby. We'll go back in and have a look and hope that we plugged all our silly stuff back in the same place. Or do we have temperature fault codes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this probably going to give it a drive. You all kind of know, like me, there's could even sit and have to do a static regeneration. There's not a whole lot of pressing a button, bleep, bleep, doesn't sometimes work. You actually have to go along and do a couple of steps. No generic steps that I can give you, just that go messing, do a couple of resets in here and stuff. We have got the DPF clean, so maybe at this point in time we could be going into functional tests, and we go to special functions. I wonder what's in there. Oh, go on. If we had, gosh, what we're going to say, maybe an EGR, sorry, a DPF reset or something like that. But sure, I suppose, look, I'll go and look through this. No, I don't want that new adaptation of certain measurements. Maybe we'll do that. I don't need to do any of that crack. Maybe. You can see it there, low pressure, DPF. Differential pressure sensor adaptation. Might do a couple of these things and just see adaptation of EGR valve. So I'd say maybe we're going to go in here, okay? Which I know, right? Sometimes the VCDS I find is better on this. With Rostec, you can do fast Google search. Oh, sorry. Operate brake pedal and depress accelerator. Hold brake pedal and accelerator pedal. It's doing its Jim Jam. So generally, sorry, what I would see, and again I can see that you can see my reflection. What I would do is just go through and just go through and yeah, do a couple of resets. See what we get rid of. That sometimes, well, a drive cycle might be a good thing to do, just to leave the car, see that there's not a whole lot of back pressure at this point. Yeah, but for now, look, there's no point in you watching this silly screen. I'll pause out and I'll catch up with you there in a second. You wouldn't have wanted to be waiting for this thing. It took about 10 minutes. Anyway, why can't I see? Anyway, if you can, why the heck can't I see? I don't know. Either here or there, we can't see it at all. Ah, there we go. Result of test. Finish routine okay. Okay, test has been successful. Continue. I'm going to go back out of it for the crack and just see that this help us get rid of fault codes. Well, they're going to be still in there. I probably pressed the wrong button there now. I shouldn't have went in here. Should have just went and cleared. Go, baby. Continue. Car's running, so you know sometimes you've seen me with these things, and sometimes they don't like clearing faults with the engine running. They'll tell you to turn them off, but hey ho, lo and behold. We're going to give it a drive and just see what happens. Do I still have lights on? I do have the same lights still flashing, so I'm going to give it a drive and just see what way it reacts. Just showing, still have the lights on. Could do it static or driving regeneration, and that's what I'm going for. I'm going driving to get a driving regeneration. You can see our measured soot content is traveling down all the time. It was at 30 odd, but I'm going to keep on going until it drops and does a regeneration. Right. Okay guys, the snap-on wasn't getting me any good. Couldn't get rid of my lights that were flashing, so right now I got pulled away from the car for a while, but I'm back on it there now. Before I go away, I'm doing a forced regeneration at this point in order to see if I can get the measured soot content went down, but my calculated soot content didn't. So I'm trying to get this to run through static regeneration, and hopefully then at that point I'll be able to get rid of my 2 fault codes and my 2 lights. That's the position right now, guys. Okay, successful. I'm gonna go and do this as well. Ignition on, engine off. Okay. Just see. Okay. Arrow's gone. Could we be on it? No fault codes after we reloaded ours. No fault codes. Yay! Whippy do. Give it a drive now and see what she's like. Okay guys, out on our test bin, and all I can do is say that it was kicking our heels at 2.5 or 3,000 revs fairly often. The van said wouldn't actually do its job at all, but for now she is doing what she's meant to do. Okay, no lights on the dash, and whether he's going to be burning oil or not at this point in time, I don't know. But for now, what is the resolve of this, I don't know, but it is driving okay. Back from our little drive, as you can see, 10 to 9 at night. But again, I'm at the reloading errors here, and we have no fault codes, no lights on a dash. So we're going to class this as a fix at this point, boys. Okay guys, on this one, what fixed it? I do not know. I just know, was it the turbo? I know that the DPF was kind of blocked because it was giving us them faults because the turbo, I believe that the vanes were sticking out according to the customer. And I don't know, I didn't like the EGR cooler. I do believe that was blocked as well. So what fixed this one? I don't know, but we have the 3 items done at this point in time. Electronically, ye see it, I see it. They're kind of stupid. I tried the snap-on, I tried the topped-on, and I didn't try the VCDS, but I did try the Mahal just there now, and lo and behold, the Mahal done what it was meant to do. So because of that, big thumbs up again to the Mahal. And if I think back, the Skoda Kodiaq, I was on to the Mahal as well. So hey, people are asking me, a couple of people are asking me, what do I think of the Mahal? On this occasion, it's doing its job. On the Volkswagen and Audi group, I'm nearly saying that it's nearly as fast and as easy as the VCDS better at this point in time. But anyway, look, for this one, I don't know, 10 to 9, 5 to 9, I'm signing out. I'm done. Man is getting his car back. He was standing there, joys of the trade. But guys, thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Need subscribers, and I'll see you all in the next cartoon. Peter Kennedy signing out. Hey, and on a tip, not a tip, but talking conversation point, if anyone is going looking at this weekend, we're going to be at the Auto Forum. So if any of you are going to be there, look forward to seeing you, whoever you may be, and thanks for watching, guys. Talk soon.